What a game. I mean, not for the Jazz, but goodness gracious, as we welcome in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, what just happened?
The long-awaited Terance Mann game. It finally, my wife said, who's Terance Mann? I said, exactly. I mean, in a bizarre year, in a bizarre playoffs, this is the craziest thing that I've seen. Akeem, you just said all of it. No Kawhi Leonard. You've got a Utah team that was a top 3 offense and defense that gives up 1 million third-quarter points. That is an astounding turn of events.
They were down by as many as 25 in this game, Bill, and we're all sitting here going, this is over. We're getting to Game 7. You know, the Jazz are going to come back. They don't have to face Kawhi in Game 6. They won't have to face Kawhi in probably Game 7. And then all of a sudden, it's like scorched earth in the second half for the LA Clippers playing in front of a full capacity crowd for the first time in 15 months at Staples Center.
They literally couldn't miss. Patrick Beverley, floater over Rudy Gobert, sure. Paul George, fadeaway, sure. Reggie Jackson, NBA Jam style, absolutely. This is what we call a Vegas trash can game. This is where if you're in Vegas right now, just run to the trash cans of the sports book and pull out all the paper you can, hoard it, and take it to a corner. Because how many people just threw away winning tickets? I mean, it was over. Not only was the game over, I was already contemplating, Akeem, talking to you about how, well, there's no way the Clippers are going to win Game 7. Utah just beat them down. Of course, we're going to go back to Salt Lake City, and this series is over. That is, for a team that had never made a conference finals, one of the most remarkable turnarounds in a closeout game by one of the most unlikely stars in NBA history in Terance Mann. And on the flip side, what a devastating, back-breaking, soul-crushing loss for Donovan Mitchell and that Utah Jazz team.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, we know he's been bothered by that right ankle injury, and it was cool to see Paul George post-game giving him a hug, talking him up, saying, you'll be back, young fella, but it just was not his series. And really in a season that this belonged to the Jazz, right? They had the best record in the NBA. I mean, they were incredible. 52-20 in the regular season, top seed in the West, looking like they're on their way to the Western Conference Finals. Instead, it's the Clippers who make the Western Conference Finals for the first time in their 51-year history of the franchise. Like, how crazy this is. The Jazz were minus 4,000 at halftime. They had a 22-point lead, minus 4,000. So, I mean, that's how crazy and how unlikely this was. It was the largest comeback in a series-clinching win over the last 25 seasons, down by as many as 25. So, if you're the Utah Jazz, you're Quinn Snyder, what are you saying to your team right now at this point?
You know, I mean, I don't know what you can say. I think all words at this point are going to be hollow. Certainly, there's some evaluations need to go on about whether Mike Conley was ready to be out there. You know, not the key difference maker, but did not play well. But I think what Quinn will look at, what his staff will look at, certainly the tape that will haunt them, is this. And you said it. I mean, Akeem, they're a great team offensively and defensively. They're a great defensive team, and all year it hasn't been often. But if the offense stalls, if Donovan Mitchell is injured or isn't able to do his thing, the defense clamps down. This Jazz team has a great defense. And up 25 points, you surrender 41 in a third quarter, and Terance Mann is the catalyst of that effort. I think Quinn Snyder, when the time comes, probably somber tone right now in the locker room, but in exit interviews next year, it's, hey, we got to play the same kind of energy and the same kind of defense that we've played all the time when we get to these big moments. But right now, I don't think there's any words that can be a balm to the brutality of that beatdown and that collapse we just saw.
Well, I mean, in the second quarter, it was the 6th man of the year, Jordan Clarkson, leading the way. I mean, he outscored the Clippers all by his lonesome. So you're thinking this is the guy that's going to be the hero in Game 6 to force a Game 7. Then it's an unlikely hero in Terance Mann, who's replacing Kawhi Leonard, who's filling in for the injured Kawhi Leonard. He goes for 39. And again, I mentioned he never scored more than 25 in any NBA game in his career. His most points in a game at Florida State was 30. That just tells you how unlikely this was that Terance Mann, not Paul George, and Paul George had 28, but Terance Mann leading the Clippers to the Western Conference Finals. It's absolute nuts.
Yeah, the world is upside down. I mean, and we know this. We forget Terance Mann, although it underscores what we're talking about. Non-superstars in closeout games aren't supposed to do this. Like there are a couple tried and true hard realities, absolute facts of NBA postseason basketball, and one of them is in crunch time, late in series, as the playoffs get deeper, everything that adds up to this game, it's superstars that are supposed to be the ones that get it done. And these moments break superstars. We've seen it break James Harden in the past. We've seen it break Paul George. I mean, you can go down the list. Terance Mann is the hero of the moment and one of the great comebacks that we've seen. It is perplexing. It is baffling. It is astounding. I don't want to say it's utterly unprecedented, but it's pretty close. I mean, I honestly still don't quite believe that we all just saw what we just saw.
I mean, the historical implications of this game are crazy because, right, this is the first time an NBA team has erased two 0-2 series deficits in the same postseason. They were down 0-2 to the Mavs, down 0-2 to the Jazz, and they rip off 4 straight to get the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. Steve Ballmer is going nuts. You have the head coach that led the Cavaliers to an NBA title in 2016 when they were down 3-1. No team had ever done that. And now it's like all of a sudden, I don't want to be, prisoner of the moment, but it's like these Clippers, it feels like destiny without Kawhi Leonard to get to the finals now.
I mean, look, far be it for me to doubt Terance Mann, right? I mean, may the best among us have the courage to doubt Terance Mann going forward. But to me, it further underscores how wide open the playoffs are. I mean, you're going to choose a Clippers team that doesn't, we think, have Kawhi? Are you going to take Atlanta if they get past Philly, or Philly with some of the problems they've clearly had in Embiid's knee? Are you going to take the Nets with all those injury issues? Are you going to take the Suns, even if, and it's an if, Chris Paul gets back for all the games from being out in the safety and health protocols for COVID-19? I mean, it is the most bizarre. I don't even know how to evaluate the Los Angeles Clippers right now because I'm still trying to get my mind around Terance Mann's superstar.
So you remember in Game 5 when we had to apologize to Paul George, and there was the apology form that was tweeted out by Serge Ibaka, and we said, yeah, we doubted you, and then he went off and had a game that no other Clipper had ever had before. And then in Game 6, we're doubting the Clippers when they're down by 25. This is over. The Jazz are going to come back and win this in 7. So do we doubt the Clippers? Should we, at this point, when we look at Kawhi Leonard, because the big question now is, can the Clippers, if this is a serious injury, which the team fears, which you told us, can they win an NBA title without Kawhi Leonard? I can't even believe I'm actually asking that question.
I can't believe my answer isn't laughter and an automatic no. But I think, yes, I think any of the teams that advance to the conference finals can win on the merits, right? Just on the merits. And I think this is a season that showed us that the remainder of the postseason could be a lot like the NBA Finals a couple years ago when injuries to the Warriors at the end tilted things in the direction of the Raptors. And I'm glad you brought up Paul George because you're right. And we have a segment we do on the radio show I host in the morning on CBS Sports Radio, Akeem, where we crown a bum of the week, whoever's the biggest bum in sports. And this week it was this guy, me, double thumbs in my direction for doubting and mocking Paul George. And so everything that we think we know, if we're having some fun with guys or being serious, hasn't made sense this year. Guys go down for the Nets, they win games. The Milwaukee Bucks aren't able to close in big games. They force a Game 7. Atlanta's going to be overmatched. They're obviously in this series and will play a decisive game. Kawhi Leonard goes down, it's over. It's not over because first Paul George is a hero, which we've never really seen in the playoffs. Then it's Terance Mann. I mean, you just go down the list. This is one of the most unpredictable NBA postseasons. It is the most unpredictable NBA postseason I've covered in 13 or 14 years covering the league.
This is why we watch sports. This is why sports is the ultimate reality television, because we get a guy named Terance Mann filling in for the injured Kawhi Leonard, goes for 39 in a game they had no business winning. Down 25, and they win and go to the Western Conference Finals, now meeting the 2 seed in the Phoenix Suns. We're unsure about the availability
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.